Everybody, hello gravitrons, and more gravity. Let's play chess. Man, whew, what a game. My heart's pumping from this game. What I'll review here, accurate enough, but not extremely so, but the finish and some back and forth changes and ideas and everything, I really am glad to have just won this game of chess. I started with the queen's pawn opening, and we got to the queen's gambit and then the semi-Slav, and with knight c3, so the knights come out. We see this structure on black's king side. He's gonna castle king side most likely, but after a king side fianchetto of his bishop, when the bishop moves to g7, that's the fianchetto. And yeah, so I played this move, bishop g5. It's still within book. H4 gets the pawn storm underway. It's just a move that saves the move later on, pretty much. And I played pawn to c5 on move 7 here. I thought I could lock up the pawn structure really well, and a lot of the first half of this game had to do with that, so we'll see how that went. b6 is an excellent move to just do the opposite of what I want to do here on the chessboard. B takes c5, and then b takes c5 would give black an extra pawn. So it's also, my opponent's also threatening to go ahead a pawn of material. And I thought b4 would be adequate to sort of stop this, put patchwork together to stop this from happening. Or at least if it does happen, it's fine for white. Like after b takes c5, we see that this locked structure in this towards the center of the board is still intact, and that's what I'm in for right now. Here's white. I have pieces ready to attack on the king side. And so to lock the position away so that the queen side doesn't have much room for black to maneuver is positive, is beneficial for that. Although I will note queen a5 is looming, as is bishop a6, so I'm not sure how strong this attack or supposed attack that I'm trying to muster really is against these moves to the a file. My opponent thought that way. Yeah, bishop a6 is good here. With one thing, you would want to consider pawn to a5 and then bishop to a6. It's a little bit stronger, but then on the other hand, it's an extra move, and now the queen can't come to a5 with the pawn there. So I don't know. The computer thinks this is a miss here by black. Black had better, to the tune of about one pawn, I think, 1.2 pawns. Okay, that's okay. These things happen in blitz chess. And queen to a4 targets both the bishop at a6 and the pawn at c6, making, I don't know, bishop b5 might have been playable. I wouldn't recommend it. And instead, bishop to b7 shows that black has taken 2 moves to move 1 square. All the while now it's white's turn to move, and he's gotten in queen to a4, which is a desirable placement for the queen anyway. She's helping to control the center pawn on d4, and so on and so forth. Rook b1, just attacking the loose piece, and rook to b8 doesn't do it, because if queen takes a7, maybe, no, the computer has something better. We'll go to the analysis view and see bishop f4 first. Yes, okay. blocking moves don't help black all that much with enough firepower on e5 to barrel through them, and white is now threatening to win the exchange on b8. This is a stronger move. Okay, well, having missed that, I play queen takes a7. White is still doing very well, and the castle's kingside doesn't prevent me from capturing on b7, though it looks like it was supposed to. Again, I'm willing to bet that bishop f4 was the move again. Yeah, so trying to undermine the protection of this bishop, and we can do so by attacking its defender with a less valuable piece. Well, okay, I played rook takes b7, and then my opponent sort of gave it back. Frankly, with rook takes b7, these aren't the optimal moves, but I think now we enter, this is sort of a very complicated endgame, and white is ahead in material by a rook to a pawn, or more exactly, or more accurately, by white is ahead in material by a bishop and a pawn. Not rook to a pawn, instead bishop and a pawn. So I'm going to let review take over, and there will be interesting moments, but for right now I'm just going to watch. This is just like pretty much white's going to aim to grind down material, offer and pick up equal value material trades, and then until the board is ready for a pawn to pursue promotion. Here's a blunder. We'll talk about this. So there's just the regular grind, but the blunder, rook to c1. I don't know. I just wasn't on my game at that point. I think there are definitely moves like bishop to e2 looks a lot better, frankly. Let's see what that analysis board says. Bishop to e2 indeed. And bishop to c8 also keeping all the material even if it's a little bit tenuous, to be protecting the bishop on c8 with a knight that's on b6. And just as you're calculating, you might not. This is a type of move, it could be a great move in certain situations, given given this rest of the board kind of thing. Maybe this would be a great move, and you wouldn't normally consider it. It's a weird looking move to have your bishop all the way on c8 protected by a knight on b6, and well, that's just so weird, right? So I bet a more natural looking move, rook to c1, attacking the knight at c5, but still losing a bishop on a6. So things just got heated a bit here for me. Not as happy as I was before that exchange. But I play on, and I'm going to show here that I'm okay with the draw. Did my opponent reject the draw? I'm not sure, so I shouldn't say. But there's still pieces on the board and all this. It's even and it's even and it's even. And then pawn to c4 misses that. Black was in jeopardy for a fork. Knight to e8 check. Gonna lose the exchange on c7. And now if white can muster the attack in time, who knows? This is anybody's game. This is anybody's game, right? My opponent has the advantage on the clock. I have an advantage in material. The other things aren't all that. I mean, maybe white has an advantage in mobility, but that's pretty much tied up in that white has an advantage in material. So yeah, this is one of those endings. It's wild and could end in any type of way, but also for different reasons. You know, I could get my pawn to a8 and find myself checkmating. I could move my king. I could move my rook into a suboptimal square, and then my opponent promotes. So, but the main thing is, white is worried about the clock, and black is worrying one way or the other about material, especially if white can find his way all the way to a8 and promote to queen. Very hurried moves. What I like about this, though, for me, 18 seconds on the clock here. I do not give up. Right, I'm gonna keep pushing that pawn and get the promotion in, and I'm following attacking lines. You know, spending the energy to find the diagonal. King to c3. The old Jordan, the old more gravity, or the old Giovanni play. Queen to c2 check. And lose the queen altogether. I didn't. I checked it. I looked at that move. I said, wait, that's not great. We'll move one square farther. Pawn to e4, just to make lines against black's king more clear. Right? Like the rook coming to g3, so as to pin the knight at d3 to his king. So rook g3. I haven't exactly exchanged because I feel now, well, whatever I felt I was feeling at the moment in time. And here's a bad move. Here's a horrible move. I don't know how it gets up to. Queen d2. I'm against what's on the board. That's a horrible move. White can still win if he doesn't lose faith in his kingside pawns. And it's a checkmate. Look, it wasn't the cleanest of games. It wasn't the most accurate of games. But with a checkmate with 0.2 seconds on the clock, it was a real heart thumper, heart stopper, whatever you want to say. A few extra heartbeats. Okay, so I'm going to sign off here in a minute and just let this play out in the background there. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Gravitrons. I'm more gravity. Have a great night.